Good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. My name is Megan Ng. I'm part of the Common Sense Solutions team, and I'll be your host and moderator for today. I'm pleased to introduce my colleague, Ricky Keys, our Regional Sales Director here at Common Sense. And we're especially excited to have our special guest, Todd Hollander, the Director of Dining and Event Services at John Knox Village, where they serve retirement communities in the greater Kansas City area. Welcome, Todd, and welcome, everyone. We'll take you all through first we'll go through the housekeeping notes for today. So just a few rules. A recording of the webinar will be sent to everyone, and any resources mentioned in this. Attendees will be muted and have their video turned off for the optimal viewing experience. There will be Q&A at the end of the session, but you can ask questions at any time via the Q&A button at the top of your screen. But we will be only responding at the Q&A session in the interest of time and getting through the presentation. So on the agenda today, we'll be discussing the shift towards a connected cashless system. We'll share a brief overview of our Common Sense cashless payment solution, GEMpay for healthcare organizations and GEMliving for senior living communities. Then we'll go into Q&A for some real-world insights with Todd. Learn about his insights of his experience working with cashless payment systems at John Knox Village. And lastly, we'll go through Q&A. And with that, I'll pass it off to Ricky.
Hey, thanks, Megan. So like Megan said, we're going to be talking about some of the challenges of going cashless or wanting to go cashless. We're going to be discussing some things in the real world that have happened and what our system can do. And then we'll go over kind of setting up some of the things in the system. We wouldn't have time to demo the entire cashless software system itself, but we can go over a few things to just kind of show a couple of ideas that may work for you or may lead you to some other thoughts on it. So starting with the industry challenges, they're increasing. Labor shortages, rising operational demands, and persistent efficiency challenges are placing increasing pressure on healthcare and senior living food service teams. As organizations work to do more with fewer resources, automation is becoming essential to streamlining workflows, introducing manual tasks, improving consistency, and helping staff focus on higher value resident and staff experiences. With this photo, integrations with these platforms are key for enhanced production and performance. The expectations have changed. Every day we're using technology in the real world, and I say the real world because I'm going to call our healthcare, senior living setups and communities as our world, what we're doing. And I've said for years, 20 plus years, in fact, that I see things happening in restaurants and hospitality outside of our world. And it usually takes about 3 to 4 years for it to come into play within what we're doing. And some of the leading, some of the leaders, like Todd, like in the senior living world, they're bringing in concepts that they see at some of the places they go to because it would work great for them. But some places just haven't adapted it because they've never worked in other areas or don't even notice it whenever they do go to some of these places. So the things I'm talking about are like mobile phones, tablets, kiosks. They've all become second nature to the retail food service. That convenience has moved into our environments, and they're now expected by our patrons. Going cashless within a healthcare or senior living food service operation improves transaction speed. Just because you're not doing cash. It reduces that cash handling labor, enhances reporting accuracy, and creates a more seamless experience for staff, patients, and visitors. It also strengthens security and supports operational efficiency and enables better data insights for purchasing and dining trends. we have customers in both healthcare and senior living that have gone completely cashless. Even if you're not expecting to go completely cashless, minimizing cash options within outlets while including cashless options like cashiers without cash, mobile ordering, kiosk can help. Like we have customers that have gone totally cashless. The only cash they have is in maybe an office that they have. They can take cash in there, or they're going to take a credit card in that office. And everywhere, like in senior living on campus, they have to use a card, like a gift card or a personal card that has like a meal card that's been given from the office. And so they're totally cashless. I can name several of our healthcare cafeterias that have set up all kiosks and maybe just one or two cash registers, workstations with cash. That way it lets a lot of people go through and order from themselves. And then if they're using cash, like the visitors would carry cash, they would go to the other line. I went to one of those just recently, one of the cafeterias, and they had two lines. One had a cashier, and then the other was a kiosk. And I went and bought a water while I was there. And as I was going through, I was in the longer line because they had to wait to give out cash and change. And the kiosk, it was all employees going through that line, and they were just passing on through. So it was very quick, and it was very simple as to how it was operating. But like I said, because we're saying cashless here, it doesn't mean you're totally cashless. So if you want to go totally cashless, that's up to you. But if you're not expecting that, you can incorporate cashless payment means into this. And I'm not just talking about payroll deduction and meal plans. There's a lot more to that. Just like I mentioned, just to kind of show you, kiosks, mobile ordering, tablets, these are what can be used in your areas to have self-ordering, like people that can order themselves or can just charge to their accounts, charge to their payroll deduction, like I said, meal plans, and even others. So to kind of get into it, to show you the back end of like some of the things you can set up within the GEMpay cashless system. So we'll start with just like when you log into the system, you just see a dashboard. This dashboard is just a generalized dashboard that lets me see certain transactions, certain badges that I may have gone to lately, and some of the balances and limits. If I choose a next screen and I go to like the account types, it'll show all the account types that we have to choose from that we have programmed. Like, for instance, my demo has departments, Gem2Go guests. So Gem2Go is our mobile ordering platform. So they can use our cashless system to do payroll deduction, or we can have guests that can load a credit card onto their app and allow that to be used as a payment. That is cashless, but I'll talk about that a little bit more in a few slides. Like with payroll deduction, just because it's a simple setup. The general account is set up. This is how we set up all accounts. So we're setting it up right here. That's a bi-week payroll deduction. And then we may go to balance types, and it'll show us what all can be charged to a payroll deduction account. So in my example, we do payroll deduction, but we also have our rewards program, and our payroll deduction employees use the rewards program with it. We also have, in my demo here, is a time pay prompt, meaning that we may have some outlets like a gift shop or just a market to where they sell things for special occasions, and they're costly. They may be $150, $200, and they want it to be put over time, meaning that it be taken out over 2 payrolls or 3 payrolls. So in my world here, I have that selected because we have a gift shop that allows that. And then we have something unique, is that we have the ability to add a credit card to these accounts, like to even a payroll deduction account. We could add a credit card there. And what that is so that I could load money into my account if it's a declining balance account instead of a true payroll deduction. Payroll deduction gives you a limit that you can spend. A declining balance means I have to load money into that account, and I can load that from a credit card if I had to. Now, credit card charges fees for every swipe. Our system is the same fee whether you use it 100,000 times or use it 10 times. So the thing is, we encourage you to use our GEMpay system, which is also GEMliving. And so what we can do is put a credit card on an account, have the charges go through, and have that credit card pay the account off at the end of a period, like every week or every 2 weeks. I mean, even every day. But what that does, you're not charged all those transactional charges that it may be 45 cents per transaction that you're being charged. And so by saving that money, it adds up over the year. So again, just in case you didn't know we had that feature, we do. Here you can see that we can add different limits. There was like daily quantity limits, transaction limits. There's about 19 limits that we can put on any account. You wouldn't use them all, you wouldn't use them all on one account, but you could use a couple on payroll deduction. You may make it a daily limit. So we had some students that were going through and charging their food every day. They were given an allotment of food every month. Well, some were not using it till the end of the month, and they would go in the cafeteria and charge $100 or $150 for food, for chips, and throw a party. Well, it was a university medical center is what it was. And so they said, hey, how could we limit our residents from doing that? Because it's their money and they can spend it any way they want. But we need to make choices that they can only spend up to $25 or $30 a day, because we're out in inventory every month because it clears out. So we set it to where they had $25 per day to charge, that they could charge, and whatever their limit was, like $250 a month. So they could charge $2 or they could charge $25. But then on the next day, they could charge $1 to $25. So it still allowed them to access their money. They just didn't access it all in one day, like they were doing. So we can do that too. And here are the balance types. All this means is what type of account is this payroll deduction account? It's named payroll deduction, but we're just saying that this is going to be a charge account that you can also make payments, that the person could also make payments in GEM2Go. And so we can set, as you see here, it's got kind of an unlimited amount that you can charge. You can charge 1 cent to $1,000 per day on this account, like just one swipe. But nobody's going to charge $1,000 for food or even goods that's in a gift shop or anything that would be in your community or your hospital. And if they did, we would raise that limit. But that's just, your limit is still $500 that was set originally, but you can only charge that much at one time, but you can't go over your limit. And I've always told people in our system, you can only charge as high as your lowest limit. So if you have a $500 a month limit, but have a $200 a week limit, you can only spend $200 a week. You can't spend the whole $500. If you spend $200, you don't have $200 that third week. You just have $100 left of that $500. So again, you can only charge as high as your lowest limit. So here's an example of an account that's set up in payroll deduction. It's a physician at a hospital. If I was looking at the system in the back, just reviewing it, I could see their charges. I could see where they could charge. That location default means that they could just charge anywhere that has our system, on campus. And it shows me their expiration date. If someone's terminated, sometimes the payroll system lets us know they're about to be terminated, or their last day is going to be, in 2 months, or they're retiring. And then that way they can't use their badge after they are let go or terminated or retire. And so, I was talking about other types of accounts. And so most of our customers know this, but some people don't have GEMpay. And I would just want to make sure that everyone knows that you can set up other types of accounts in our system. So if you want departmental accounts, if you have caterings that you need to charge to certain departments, if you have outside entities that need to be charged, if you have people that come in and you're offering, some communities offer their rooms for rent sometimes whenever somebody needs a meeting for the community, you can charge that in the system and then bill that person, or they can pay with a credit card, however you needed to, just to kind of keep it all in one system and go to your AR system with all this information. These are departments that are set up in my example. And so that's the food service department, FNS, Food and Nutrition Services. And if you look, it's unlimited that I can charge, but food service may be allowing all of their employees $5 per meal or $5 per day of working. So they'll get $5 off, so they can spend up to $5 a day. But if their amount is $7, $5 would go against the department, and then the $2 would go to their payroll deduction or cash or credit card, however they wanted to pay that extra. Usually it's payroll deduction. And you'll see that badge is right there with the plus sign beside it. That's how you can add each employee to that department to where they have basically their own account in the food nutrition service department. But that's just one example. You could have it for radiology. A lot of doctors' offices do this that are near a hospital. They will come in and want to set up an account where all their employees can eat on their dime, and so they pay their bill every month. But all their employees are allowed to eat, so they all have identification to allow them to charge at the terminal, at the register. And then we also have gift cards. We have a gift card module that allows you to sell gift cards to anybody that walks in. If you're not totally cashless, but would like to kind of go that way, you could have one workstation set up as cash for this whole area, or just one outlet, and you could sell gift cards there for cash. But you can sell gift cards from any terminal using a credit card, and again, that gives that person, let's say, $100 gift card, and then they spend down, and you're not doing transactional charges for every time they swipe it. So again, we do offer a gift card module too. So there's a lot of different things, and if you have our system, it has a lot of reporting within it. The reports are growing every day. We always want to add new reports that's helpful to get all the information that you're needing, and reports are essential to looking at your operation and production and performance of everyone. So if you have any questions on any of this that you've seen, anything that you'd like to ask, please ask it at the end, or you can go ahead and put them in the chat now. And definitely ask your ARM team member with us, if you have any deep dive questions on any of this.
All right, thank you so much, Ricky. So we're going to go into our Q&A session with Todd Hollander, the Director of Dining Event Services at John Knox Village, where we'll get a little bit more insight on their experience with working with cashless payment systems. Okay, so let's go into the first question. Todd, can you tell us a little bit about your role at John Knox Village and how dining services fit into the overall resident experience?
Sure. John Knox Village is a large full care community. We have all levels of care. I have 6 revenue centers that feature 8 different restaurant concepts, in addition to about 24 different banquet spaces, as small as 8, as large as 600. So it's a large community. Dining is one of the most important pieces to our residents' lives. Everyone has to eat. It's one of the 3 things every person has to do. So dining becomes a center point. It's a social interaction. It's a community. And it's very important to our residents. And my job is essentially making sure that we have continuity through the continuum.
Awesome. How have you seen the residents' expectations change and evolve over the last few years with dining and convenience?
It has changed significantly. Residents are coming in, and we're open to the public too. So it's not just residents; it's outside guests. Our clientele is wanting more personalized meals, wanting more variety. The hours of dining, the wants and desires have changed.
Right.
No longer are the seniors just wanting 4 o'clock for dinner or 11 o'clock for lunch. So we have a variety here at John Knox of some restaurants that are open throughout the day, from breakfast straight through dinner. We have a couple that are just lunch and dinner. We have one that's just lunch. So we really have a wide variety. And our guests are really demanding that personalization to meet their dietary needs. We're seeing allergies and what have you. So it's changed significantly.
Yeah, it's lots of need for customization, and everyone wants things done their certain way now, right? So it's less, more catering to the audiences.
Absolutely.
Okay. Before implementing GEMpay or Gem Living in your situation, what operational challenges were you guys trying to solve?
We faced several different challenges. We had inefficiencies in our payment processes. There was limited visibility to the actual transaction. Cash handling, it was cumbersome. We struggled with tracking residents' dining preferences and trying to figure out where the traffic patterns were going. Our forecasting was challenged. So there were a number of challenges.
Yeah. And what made you guys realize it was time to move towards a more connected cashless system?
It got to the point where we weren't efficient and we needed to find a way to increase our own capacity of dining and serve more residents. And with technology and the changing of the times, the integrated Gem Living process really made sense. It integrates with our financials. It integrated with our residents' accounts. We were able to set it up with the flexibility that we needed, and it essentially solved all the problems that we were having or all the inefficiencies, and we've been able to continue to grow our
That's
dining
amazing.
program.
That's great. That's great to hear. How are you guys using Gem Living today across the dining and resident services operations?
We use Gem Living across all 8 of our dining concepts, including, in addition to 2 markets, we have 4 salons, and we have life enrichment activities, which are fee for service. So fitness classes, some travel, tours.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, it is. And essentially, Gem is able to handle all of those expenses and give them the ability to look at all of that.
That's awesome. How did staff and residents respond to the transition to the cashless system?
Well, we're not completely cashless. We do still accept cash, but we encourage and the system has allowed us to really encourage people to use their resident charge or their dining credit charge. We also have gift cards or credit cards. So the staff is all for it, and we've taught them language on how to have that conversation and make sure we ask up front how the bills can be taken care of so we can tie it to the correct person's account, and we can have those conversations at the start.
What operational improvements have had the biggest impact for you and your team?
The reduction of transaction times. It is when the system is integrated with your EMR, your electronic medical records, and all the information, all the accounts. It's so much easier to look people up. We're tracking dining dollars automatically instead of having to get the calculator at the end of the shift. As some of the communities that haven't gone to point of sale systems are doing everything by hand. Residents don't have to go to the admin to buy coupons for the dining room. The cashless system and the interconnectivity has really improved a lot of different areas for us.
Okay, that's great to hear. Have you seen or have your staff seen any impact on how the residents engage or participate since implementing the system?
Yeah, they are more on top of their their business. Um,
Yeah.
so we will get questions. We have, for instance, one particular name, we have 3 different residents that have the same name. So we've had to
Oh,
find ways to include their middle initial. We
right.
have photos that pop up now. So the errors that used to occur of getting the charges to the right account don't happen anymore. And our residents are very appreciative. They let us know what's going on with their accounts, and we have kids that are calling up, adult children that are calling up and loading their gift cards through
Right.
the web portal. So residents are very interactive and a part of the system.
Yeah, it definitely makes it a lot more convenient for loved ones to care for their parents or grandparents, right?
Yeah, the other thing that we've actually done, we put our nutritionals in there so that the server can actually pull up the menu item and the nutritionals for that item, as well as see all the allergens. And then we're still working on getting all of the data in there, but we can add, and for a select few residents that we know have some high demand for dietary needs, we'll put those notes in
Right.
there so that when the person ties it to that account, it
Yeah.
will flag us when those dietary needs are not met within the order.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's great. Okay, so next question. Were there any unexpected benefits that came from implementing Gem Living for you guys?
I don't think we realized how much it was going to help and where the
Yeah.
efficiencies were going to be.
Right.
The nutritionals, the dietary needs, my prior to going with Gem Living, residents, like I said, didn't have access to see the transaction. So after the statements were sent out, 3 days of my work life was returning phone calls and explaining where the resident missed a receipt or threw a receipt away and therefore didn't have the right balance, or a transaction may have gotten charged to the wrong person because they're someone else with a similar name. Once we integrated, those calls have gone down to 1 or 2, and it's
Yeah.
very few and far between. And it's usually those residents that aren't very computer savvy.
Right.
Um, that I walk through and will teach how to get online and check their transactions or from their mobile phone. So those are some of the things that kind of I wasn't aware of how much of an impact those phone calls had on my
Yeah.
workday prior to the integration.
Yeah. Nice little surprise there.
Yes.
All right, we'll have a couple more questions for you, Todd, and then I'll give you your day back. How important is having visibility into dining and payment activity from an operational and financial standpoint, in your opinion?
It's very important. It helps us forecast, it identifies trends, it helps us manage our budget effectively and allocate the resources where they're needed most. It's all about transparency as well. So our residents can see what's going on with their balances to the minute, to the transaction. So it's important. I mean, I think as transparent as a business can be, only helps them.
For those communities, organizations that are still, working with disconnected or manual systems, what advice would you give to them?
I would absolutely have them evaluate their current processes and consider the long-term benefits investing in the integrated technology solutions. Gem Living has solved many inefficiencies, as I mentioned, and has saved and has already paid for itself. So transitioning into a connected system may seem daunting from a financial and a training aspect, but it enhances your operational efficiency and resident satisfaction. It really gives you a dining feeling, and the hospitality that your staff provide really is an extension of their home. Start researching the available options, and really look at where that point of sale is really going to increase your efficiencies and the bottom line.
All right. All right, last question for you, Todd. Looking ahead, how do you see technology continuing to shape the resident dining and hospitality experience?
It's going to continue to play an increasing role in enhancing the dining experience. As we continue to innovate and expand, I have a couple more outlets that we're looking to add over the next 5 years. There's more opportunities for personalized dining experience. We're We're going to be expanding to mobile ordering and using some kiosk. We're even talking about doing a self-checkout for one of our markets. So I think staying on top of the technology trends is going to remain, and it's going to keep improving. So I'm always trying to stay ahead of the curve.
Right. All right. So that was the last question. Thanks so much, Todd. If
Yeah.
anyone has any questions for Todd or Ricky, you can go ahead and put them into the Q&A button. We'll just see if there's anything here so far. Oh, just a question here. Will the slide presentation be sent out? Yes, it will be emailed out by tomorrow. Okay, I've got a question here. Can different limits be set up for different groups for payroll deduction?
Yes.
Did you want to take that one, Ricky? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'll take that. We get asked all the time, I mean, does it have to be the same amount for everybody that's on payroll? What about PRNs? What about, just part-timers? How could we do that? Well, we work with you on that. We can set it any way you want. If you want to set a master limit of $250 a pay period, let's say, I'm just using payroll deduction as an example, since you asked, you set it at $250 every 2 weeks, let's say. But let's say that, I know this happened. Somebody went into arrears because they had spent that much, but they had, insurance and everything else coming out of their check. So it went into arrears, so they couldn't take that amount out. And so they asked just to be put on a less amount just to keep them in check, because they didn't want that to happen again. And so they set them at $150 every 2 weeks, just that one account. So everybody else had a 250, that one account had 150. And from then on, people were asked, did you want that limit or did you want something lower? And some people just felt responsible and they said, hey, I want to make sure that I make some money at the end of the payroll period. So yeah, let's just keep it at this. And so that worked out fine. We can also set up different payrolls on the same system. So all that means is most of the time payroll goes through, let's say HR, and it's done, let's just say bi-weekly, and admin is once a month maybe, and they're on a different type of payroll. We can set up both of those as long as that information is given to us, and that's two different payrolls. And like with Todd, they've divided their residents up through the months instead of having all 2,000 residents get a bill on the same day. They go through the letters, and what is it, Todd, like A through K?
A through K and L through Z. And that's for the dining credit, which is a declining balance. They also have room charge, which is an ascending balance. We have payroll deduct, where PRNs don't have anything. And if you're part-time or full-time, there's a $100 limit. We have department charges that have no limit. We have gift cards that have no limit. Our assisted living gets department charged, but we track by the individual. So if there's any question of what one of our assisted living residents are eating, we can pull up their transactions and see what they ordered. So it's a system that allows you to do anything your imagination will allow.
That was better than I said, Todd. So thank you, because that's the thing I want to make sure that everyone knows, that you're not just stuck with one type of account. Because we've replaced other software packages that just didn't have any type of way to set accounts different, to set them to differentiate these accounts from these accounts, so they could only offer this. So we're very flexible, and that was on purpose. We wanted to be able to accommodate any situation that came to us. And in fact, we've had some people ask, hey, does your system do this? And it didn't. And so then we add it. If we see the need, we add it. Time pay, taking those payments over time. We added that because of a past customer of ours that asked that. Well, current customer, but one of our customers back in 2006 said, hey, can you do this? And we said, sure. So we added it. So that's all of our good ideas come from our customers.
Yep, there's even ways to put in there textured diets and special plates for some of our skilled living. So it goes back to the kitchen and they know exactly what they need to prepare. and it actually ties the name to it so that we can make sure we're following the right protocols.
Oh, all right. So looks like that was the last question for the day. If anyone has any additional questions that you think of, feel free to email us sales@csense.com. Our thanks again to Todd Hollander for joining us today. Todd, thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining us and for taking the time to share your perspective on gem living and what's happening at John Knox Village. We're very happy to hear that things are going well there.
Yep, my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us, and we hope to see you at the next webinar. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, Todd. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Bye-bye.